We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DT India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Donald Trump to be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. Promises a blitz of emergency decisions, including action against immigration, on the eve of his inauguration. Israel releases 90 prisoners under Gaza truce deal. Joyous moment in Tel Aviv as freed hostages reunited with family. Next Gaza hostage prisoner swap to take place on Saturday. 54th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum to begin in Davos. India Cabinet Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw to present nation's vision for inclusive growth and digital transformation at the event. And in sports, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi hails Indian women and men's team on lifting the inaugural Kho-Kho World Cup 2025. And on to the details now. Donald Trump will be inaugurated as the 47th U.S. president today in a star-studded event that will be attended by a galaxy of foreign dignitaries, including India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. The inauguration event was supposed to take place in front of the Capitol, but was shifted indoors due to the freezing weather conditions in the wake of an Arctic blast. Along with Trump, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance will also take the oath of office, following which Trump will deliver his inaugural address. Foreign leaders expected at the inauguration are Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, Argentine President Javier Milei, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and others. Russian President Vladimir Putin was not invited, though Trump hinted at a separate meeting later. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky are also among the notable absences. Early on Sunday, Donald Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Arlington National Cemetery, continuing a tradition for incoming leaders ahead of their inauguration. They were joined by their families, including Melania Trump and Usha Vance, along with national security cabinet nominees such as Senator Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, Ellis Stefanik and George Collins. Well, on the eve of his inauguration, President-elect Donald Trump staged a campaign-style rally in frigid Washington at Capital One Arena, where he and his supporters celebrated his win. During his speech, Trump touched on various topics, including the Middle East ceasefire, TikTok, and his day one actions as president. Here's a report.
U.S. President-elect Donald Trump rallied his supporters at Capital One Arena in downtown Washington, D.C., just a day before his inauguration. The event marked his first major address in Washington since his speech on January 6, 2021, the day of Capitol attack. In his address, Trump said that he will pardon many of more than 1,500 people convicted or charged in connection with the Capitol attack. Trump repeated his campaign pledge to launch the largest deportation effort in U.S. history, which would eventually remove millions of immigrants. Trump further said he would impose severe limits on immigration on his first day in office.
The border security measures I will outline in my inaugural address tomorrow will be the most aggressive, sweeping effort to restore our borders. We will quickly reestablish control of our sovereign territory and borders. We will expel every single illegal alien, gang member, and migrant criminal operating on American soil and remove the savage gang Tren de Aragua from the United States. Every radical and foolish executive order of the Biden administration will be repealed within hours of when I take the oath of office.
Trump's advisor and world's richest man, Elon Musk, also addressed the crowd. Musk said that he is looking forward to make changes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sorry, little X just followed me on the stage here. He's a very enthusiastic supporter, as you can see.
Washington, D.C. is buzzing with thousands of Trump supporters as officials rush to ensure that the inauguration ceremony can go ahead indoors due to inclement weather. Supporters of Trump shared their disappointment about the inauguration ceremony being moved indoors because of unusually cold weather.
Very disappointed because this was all last minute change, and I reserved right after the election, and because of the Los Angeles fires, we contemplated on whether or not to come. We ended up deciding to come, and then we heard about the blizzard, so that was another reason why not to come, but it was just too important to miss it. So we ended up coming, and now we're just, winging it and seeing where we can go and what we can do. It's just great to meet all these people too. Actually, this is well worth it.
I want to show Mr. Trump support. That's the most important thing. Otherwise, I wouldn't be this wet or this cold for any other person but Mr. Donald Trump. He deserves this. He deserves this position. He deserves to win. And I just want to be here to let him know that we care.
This event has served as a capstone to one of the most remarkable comebacks in American political history. Trump, his loyal allies, and his political movements are joyous and promising fundamental change starting from the day he takes oath of office. And he will be back in this arena in less than 24 hours to address his supporters, but this time as the President of the United States of America. Bureau Report, BT India.
And while U.S. outgoing President Joe Biden on the last day in his office as president upheld diversity and ethnic equality as the soul of the American democracy. He urged fellow Democrats not to lose hope and keep fighting for the principles his party has long cherished. In a symbolic gesture on the last day in his office, the U.S. President Biden took time to visit South Carolina's Black church-going community on Sunday. He also took round of the African American Museum, underlying the Blacks' importance as American. At the Royal Missionary Baptist Church in North Charleston, Biden was remembered fondly by political allies and received a standing ovation from church attendees. Joe Biden's visit to South Carolina on his last full day as U.S. president marks the national holiday honoring civil rights icon Martin Luther King Jr.
Our nation is not based on religion, ethnicity, or geography, or some ethnic component. We're the only nation in the world, the only one, history of the world, built on an idea. The idea was we're all created equal and deserve to be treated equally throughout our lives. Standing here, we know we've never fully lived up to that idea. We've never walked away from it either. That Black history is American history. Black culture. Black culture is American culture.
Well, emotions are running high on both sides of the divide as a hostage prisoner swap brought joy to kith and kin of the captives released from Gaza and prisoners released from Israel. This comes as the truce deal between Israel and Hamas finally comes into force. More in this report.
For much of past 14 months, West Asia was a scene of utter devastation and anguish. War clouds hung heavy on the horizon and continuous fighting upended life across the borders. After months of devastation and strikes, the news of the hostage deal came as a whiff of fresh air. The first swap proved beyond doubt that this was perhaps the most riveting scene for residents on both sides of the divide. 3 Israeli hostages, Romy Gunen, Emily Damery, and Doron Steinbrecher, released by Hamas on the first day of the truce with Israel. After months of anguish and uncertainty, Israeli hostages freed from Hamas captivity finally reunited with their families, sharing tearful and heartwarming moments. The tears were of joy, relief, and closure as the separated ones finally met. Months of emotional and physical trauma gave way to tears and hugs as the hostages reunited with their families. Such was the joy of the reunion that friends and families wanted to share it with everyone, including this reporter who was hoisted by them while being on air up onto their shoulders amid name chanting of one of the released hostages. Amid fireworks and a jubilant atmosphere in West Bank, loud cheers jostled with car honks announced the arrival of 2 buses which arrived carrying Palestinian prisoners released from the Israeli detention. In Beitunia, buses carrying the freed inmates arrived amid cheers and chants with several climbing atop the vehicles. As per reports, the next hostage prisoner swap would take place this week. Though only 3 Israeli hostages have been released by Hamas, the sight of them embracing their families has no doubt kept the flickering flame of hope alive for the families of remaining hostages. They are now more than hopeful that sooner than later they will have their loved ones back home. Antara Sinha for DD India.
And moving on, the World Health Organization has expressed its readiness to pour aid into Gaza during the Israel-Hamas truce, saying that it would need systematic access across the territory to do so. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus welcomed the ceasefire, adding that addressing the massive health needs and restoring the health system in Gaza will be a complex and challenging task, given the scale of destruction, operational complexity and constraints involved. While the United Nations Health Body was ready to scale up the response to address the territory's critical needs, it said in a statement that it is critical that the security obstacles hindering operations are removed. Meanwhile, humanitarian aid trucks entered Gaza on Sunday following a long-awaited ceasefire agreement. The trucks crossed into Gaza through the Karim Shalom crossing after a delay due to a dispute over the release of hostages. And in a major development for social media users, TikTok has begun restoring its services in the United States. This comes after President-elect Donald Trump intervened to ensure the popular app remains available for the 170 million Americans who use it. The move follows a series of legal and political challenges, including national security concerns surrounding the app's Chinese ownership. Aarti Rana files this report.
As of today, TikTok is back.
TikTok's comeback is the result of behind-the-scenes negotiations between Team Trump and the Chinese tech giant ByteDance, which owns the app. Earlier, TikTok confirmed that it was in the process of restoring service for its US users following a weekend of uncertainty. This all began after President-elect Trump made it clear he wanted to keep the app available to millions of Americans despite national security concerns regarding TikTok's data collection practices. While TikTok has not yet been made available for download, the company is working with service providers to restore full functionality across the platform. In a statement, TikTok expressed gratitude to President-elect Trump for his efforts to ensure the platform remains active, but did not address Trump's call for part American ownership of the app. This development comes amid escalating tensions between the US and China. Earlier this week, the Chinese embassy in Washington accused the US government of using unfair state power to suppress TikTok, while also pledging to protect Chinese interests. For years, President Trump has raised concerns about TikTok's parent company ByteDance, but Trump's opinion has shifted in recent months. In the 2024 election, he praised the app for helping him connect with younger voters, even admitting he has a warm spot for the platform.
We'll take a look at TikTok. You know, I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok because I won youth by 34 points. And there are those that say that TikTok had something to do with that. Now, Joe Rogan did, and some of the other people that were recommended by my son Barron, he knew names. I said, who is that? tell me, who's that? Dad, you got to be kidding. I can't believe you don't know. And I did those interviews, and it was actually sort of cute, if you want to know the truth. But we did them, and that had an impact. But TikTok had an impact, and so we're taking a look at it.
Although the future of TikTok in the United States remains uncertain, with talks of a potential sale still looming. In 2020, the Trump administration pushed for a deal where American companies like Oracle and Walmart would acquire stakes in the app. Aarti Rana's report for DD India.
And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar held key meetings with Australia and Japan foreign ministers ahead of Trump inauguration. All updates from Mahakumbh 2025, a historic convergence of faith and celestial alignment after 144 years.
Timeless, boundless, and infinite. The essence of faith, the soul of Sanatan culture. From the sacred confluence of Prayag, where divinity descends to earth. Witness the grandeur, the devotion, the magic. World's largest cultural and spiritual gathering, with over 450 million devotees expected to attend. Mahakumbh, India's greatest festival of faith. Exclusively on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Moving on, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar, who is in Washington, D.C. for the inauguration ceremony of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, held meetings with his counterparts from Australia and Japan. In a social media post, Minister Shankar expressed happiness over his meeting with Japanese Foreign Minister Takeshi Iwaya. The two leaders reviewed progress in bilateral cooperation and also discussed developments related to the Quad. In another post, Dr. Shankar said he enjoyed his discussion on the state of the world with Australian counterpart Penny Wong. Quad grouping comprises India, Australia, Japan and the United States. And moving on, Reliance Industries Chairman Mukesh Ambani and Reliance Foundation Chairperson Neeta Ambani posed for a photo with US President-elect Donald Trump a day before his swearing-in ceremony in Washington, D.C. The Ambanis attended a private reception and fireworks display at the Trump National Golf Club in Virginia. Trump's inauguration ceremony will feature a number of high-profile attendees, and the Indian business tycoons will be one of the most notable names on the guest list. And the 54th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum will begin on Monday in Davos, Switzerland. Topics on the Davos agenda span mounting global geopolitical and economic uncertainty, trade tensions, climate goals, and artificial intelligence. During the 5-day-long meeting, around 3,000 leaders from over 130 countries will discuss innovative strategies to revitalize growth, harness transformative technologies, empower individuals and communities, and protect the planet and drive collaboration. Attendees will include European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. Well, Donald Trump, who will be sworn in on Monday, will address the meeting virtually on the 23rd of January. And India's Minister for Railways, Information and Broadcasting and IT, Ashwini Vaishnaw, will be participating in the World Economic Forum 2025 at Davos. Vaishnaw will present nation's vision for inclusive growth and digital transformation at the event. And India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar laid the foundation stone of the Nandlal Nuwal Indology Centre at Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan's Mehta Vidyalaya in National Capital Delhi on Monday. The registrar, officers, staff and many dignitaries of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan were present on the occasion. Speaking on the occasion, the Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar said that this new building of the Department of Indology will usher in a new era for the department, where students from all over the country will get better education opportunities in Indology with modern facilities.
Beyond just laying the foundation stone of Nandlal Nawal Center for Indology, in a sense it is seeding of a transformative journey to rediscover, reassert, reinvigorate the profound intellectual and cultural heritage that has defined India for millennia.
And now all the news from Mahakumbh, the largest religious congregation in the world. Well, as the Mahakumbh enters its 8th day, more than 2.27 million pilgrims visited the religious gathering on Monday morning. According to the official data released by the Uttar Pradesh government, over 2.27 million devotees gathered at Sangam Triveni and took the holy dip by 8 a.m. IST. Despite the chilly weather, a large number of devotees gathered at the sacred spot in Prayagraj. The attendance of the pilgrims is expected to increase in the upcoming days as 4 key Amrit Snan are yet to come. As of January 19th, more than 82.6 million pilgrims took dip at the Sangam Triveni during the Mahakumbh 2025. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. The anti-terror operation in the forested Zalura Gujarpatti area of Sopore, Jammu and Kashmir, entered its second day on Monday as security forces continued extensive search operations. According to Army, the joint cordon and search operation was launched by the Indian Army and Jammu and Kashmir Police Baramulla districts Gujarpatti. The operation was launched after getting specific intelligence input regarding presence of terrorists in the area. A Kolkata court will pronounce the quantum of punishment of Sanjay Roy, convicted of raping and murdering an on-duty doctor at the state-run RG Kar Medical College and Hospital in the East Indian city of Kolkata. The charges under which Roy has been convicted entail a minimum sentence of life imprisonment, while the maximum can be capital punishment. Ahead of the Republic Day 2025, defence personnel participated in the full dress rehearsal of the 76th Republic Day parade at Kartavya Path on Monday. Republic Day, observed on January 26th, marks the adoption of India's constitution and the country's transition to a republic in 1950. Well, in sports, the Indian men's and women Kho-Kho team scripted history on Sunday after defeating Nepal in the final to be crowned as the inaugural World Cup 2025 champions. Team Blue's victory in the tournament will be a pathway for one of India's oldest traditional sports to make a mark globally. Take a look.
The week-long sporting extravaganza finally came to an end, with India lifting both the men's and the women's trophy at the inaugural Kho-Kho World Cup 2025 in New Delhi. Hosts India were on an all-conquering run throughout the tournament, displaying a masterclass of speed, strategy and skill. While the Indian men's Kho-Kho team beat Nepal 54-36 in the title clash, the women's team outplayed the Nepalese Eves by a massive 78-40 scoreline. The inaugural edition featured 20 men's and 19 women's teams from all over the world, and the successful hosting of the event will help in encouraging the youth to take the sport across the globe. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also took to social media platform X to extend his wishes for both the teams. He said, and I quote, "Incredibly proud of Indian men's Kho-Kho team for winning the Kho-Kho World Cup title. Their grit and dedication is commendable. This win will contribute to further popularizing Kho-Kho among the youth." Prime Minister also hailed the women's team, saying, "This triumph has brought more spotlight to one of India's oldest traditional sports, inspiring countless young athletes across the nation." Player of the tournament and Indian men's team captain Pratik Vaikar said the inaugural edition of the tournament will definitely pave a way for the sport to grow in the future.
जिन लोगों ने खो खो के लिए लाइफ दी है अपनी, क्योंकि ये ऐसा नहीं है कि 2 साल में आ रहे हैं और वर्ल्ड कप हो रहा है, ये लेगेसी है बहुत सारे प्लेयर्स की जिन्होंने खेला है, तो मुझे लगता है कि उन लोगों को ये श्रेय देना चाहता हूँ कि बस मैं एक टॉर्च बेरर हूँ अभी खो खो के लिए, बट उनका श्रेय क्योंकि उन्होंने खो खो खेलना स्टार्ट किया था और वो खेलते रहे, इसीलिए खो खो आज इस मुकाम पे है.
Indian women's team captain Priyanka Ingle said the tournament is special not just for India but for the sport as a whole.
ओपनिंग सेरेमनी से लेकर आज जो हमने फाइनल जीता तब तक हमारी हमारी फेस से स्माइल ही नहीं जा रही, क्योंकि ओपनिंग सेरेमनी भी इतना बड़ा रहा है कि मैंने कभी किसी टूर्नामेंट्स में भी इतना बड़ा ओपनिंग सेरेमनी नहीं देखा. उसके बाद हर एक मैच हमने बहुत मार्जिन से जीता है.
The Kho World Cup finals witnessed an illustrious gathering of dignitaries, adding prestige to the historic sporting event.
The week-long fun has come to an end, but the inaugural edition has definitely uplifted the game and has boosted the morale of not just the present men's and women's team, but also everyone all across the nation. As this is just going to be the beginning of a spectacular Kho Fest that the world is going to witness. With camera person Naveen Kumar, this is Priya Yadav for DD India.
Well, former Olympic javelin champion Neeraj Chopra announced his marriage to tennis player Himani Moore in an intimate ceremony on Sunday. In a post on social media, the Olympic gold and silver medalist shared photographs from the ceremony involving family, announcing the news of his wedding and asking his fans for their support and blessings. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. Well, we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Kurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.